Changal Sapuro, welcome to the podcast from Brazil. You're in Brazil, I'm in Greece. So I'm so excited about this conversation today. You said you have a lot to say. Usually, I do presentation or introduction of the guest, but I've been thinking hard and I I know that I would do injustice to your 20 plus years of doing with plant medicine, the experience you have, the knowledge you have. So I would like today just that you will start talking and you tell your story the way you want it, the experience you want it, and we'll go from there and we'll touch different topics and we'll see where this conversation goes. Welcome.
Right. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation. And it's like a big honor and also a big pleasure to share the story and even whatever basically I went through my life, what I learned through my life, and what the sacred medicine of Mother Earth taught me through my life. So yeah, my journey started when I was basically a young boy. I was like maybe around 9 to 12 years old. With 9 years old, I basically started to explore cannabis. It's quite an early age, but regarding the life circumstances and everything I went through, this plant basically found me. I didn't found the plant, but the plant found me. And this plant is with me through my whole life, basically. And it's a great teacher plant and also a great ally plant. And we have basically many different plants to say that can be teachers. Some are even power plants, and some are protection plants. So we have many different plants to say that can be used for healing purposes, shamanic purposes, different kind of rites of passages to say. And when I was 12 years old, I encountered the sacred mushroom, where basically I learned mostly from the mushroom through my life. All the knowledge the mushroom gave helped afterwards with medicine journey with ayahuasca. So through years, I was getting insights through mushrooms about relationships of our society, how our relations are affecting our life, how society in general is in relationships with each other, how we are as human beings in our Western societies in relationship. And for me, it was quite shocking to say, because it's everything the opposite of how human relationships should be. Also in schools, in pharmacy, in hospitals, how we are treated just as a number, basically. We are not treated as a human being. And that was for me, when I was a young boy, quite shocking to realize, to see. So I went more into to journey into myself. So I went to hang out with friends, but I rather stayed at home and was mushroom journeying, to say. And
Explore your
back
inner
then,
world.
exactly. And back then, we didn't have internet and we didn't have much information about even what these sacred plants are, basically. We just know that they are mushrooms and we know that it's ganja and you have like a nice time and that you can have nice insights, to say, that you can connect very nice with yourself. That was the basic information we got about mushroom. And after we got internet, I started to search what our society is saying about these medicines, to say. And I found out that our society is considering these medicines a drug, that you are hallucinating and that you don't see reality as it is. And it was like a complete opposite of my personal experience, because for me, reality was more real when I took mushrooms than when I was not on mushrooms, to say. And what mushrooms basically taught me, for me, through years, it showed that it's real, that is not something that is in our imagination, but is direct learning through the sacred plants, to say. So after, basically, I got like a clash of different viewpoints inside of my mind, to say. So I was like, there was a fight inside of my mind, to say, because our society is showing that there are drugs, that we are drugging ourselves, and that we experience hallucinations and different kind of stories. There was like a clash inside, and I needed to go through a certain experiences that I saw that is not like what society is teaching us. So when I first met ayahuasca was when I was 18 years old. I first heard about it. And then when I heard about it, was like, this is something I would like to experience. And I didn't search for it. I basically was like exploring, reading about it, but I was not searching to go somewhere and to drink it, to say. And somehow the idea of medicines came to my system. So I encountered the idea that these are medicines. So it was like the opposite idea of the drug. And then I started to be curious about how this medicine can be a medicine. So in around of year of 2016, I got an opportunity to go on my first ayahuasca experience. And after that experience, when I came home, I basically got Lyme disease directly after ayahuasca. The thing is that probably a tick bite me 14 days before, and I didn't notice. And in exactly of time of ayahuasca, it came out. So for me, a healing journey started, where I tried to help myself with normal antibiotics that they give you for Lyme disease, and it made everything even worse. So in the same year, I also get an opportunity to experience Kambo medicine. at the
could you,
beginning of.
sorry to interrupt you. Could you just explain what that is shortly?
Okay, Kambo medicine is basically a frog medicine that comes from the region I'm staying. We
Okay.
will also meet the frog. One day we will go to catch the frog and we will make a ceremony with live frog, to say,
Okay.
not with dried venom, but with live frog. It's basically a giant tree frog. And the tribes in the Amazon rainforest use its secretion for medicine purposes, for cleaning. And in general, we as Western culture, we did many scientific research on it. And it's really super powerful medicine, to say. It boosts our immune system and it helps our immune system to self-heal. So self-healing can be done with help of this medicine. So when I got Lyme disease, I remember that probably the only thing that can help me is this frog. So I contacted the lady that was doing the treatments and I went for the treatments. It's really hot sun here.
It's okay.
And Ambom did really a miracle because the Lyme disease brought me literally to a zombie state. I was literally like a zombie. I could not normally speak. Half of my face was shut down, memory loss, suicidal thoughts, many different kind of psychological things. And Cambo helped like in 4 treatments in 1 month. It was like every Sunday one, and I was back to be able to work, to say. So from that moment on, I started to do Cambo in every full moon for 1 year. And after 1 year of treating Lyme disease with Cambo, basically Bufo medicine came to my life. And
Could you, before you continue your story, could you also explain what is Bufo? Just quickly so people will know what to search if they want to.
Bufo is medicine from Mexico, Sonora. It comes from Bufo alvarius, or nowadays called Incilius alvarius. It's Sonoran desert toad that secretes 5-MeO-DMT. And basically, for me, was the most powerful experience I went through in my life. And it's a really amazing tool, to say, because when we say it's a medicine, we limit its capacity because it have much more capacity than to be just a medicine. And yeah, from that moment on, basically now it's already 10 years. I went also 2 months later, I went to Mexico and also to assist in ceremonies with this Mexican doctor that invited me to be his assistant. And yeah, we traveled across the United States. I helped with more than 100 ceremonies where basically after I started to practice by myself, on myself. First, I did more than 100 journeys on myself before I even start to share with anyone else. And regarding the work with Bufo, yeah, we are experiencing right now in our world very unethical approach of sharing these medicines. And it's also happening in Slovenia where we live. And many people show up where they just maybe have this experience one time or two times in their life, and they see it's very easy to share, and they start to share this medicine
Okay.
and start to experiment with people. And recently and in past years, we were contact from people that have unfortunately met such people who share medicine in such way, and they didn't have good experiences because they were overdosed and dosed too many times in a row, because there is an ethical protocol for this medicine, how to serve people, how to talk with people to see where we are standing. And also the first dosage is also analytical dose. So with first dose, we always see where the person is standing, how much we can dose it, and everything together.
Sure.
And
If I,
nowadays,
Ch-
yeah.
Changal, let me just step in for a second.
Mhm,
You said here one word that for myself, I'm always telling my friends that
mhm,
are not familiar with psychedelic healings or medicine is
mhm,
ethics.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
where and I would just like before you continue your story and uh, say a couple things. First of all, my very close friends were at your ritual.
mhm,
Your, I don't know if it's ritual session, whatever you want to call it,
mhm,
and they had profound experiences that helped them on
mhm,
so many levels. Okay. And myself, I haven't been there yet. I know, I already know it's coming when the time will be right for ayahuasca and bufa. I'm aware of that already. But also on my personal journey, what you're talking about is like, I'll give you an example. When I was living in Vietnam and I was like talking to my friends and I was like, oh, I really want to do ayahuasca, but the only place is in Peru. And I was like, oh, it's kind of far, expensive at the moment. And the guy was
mhm,
like, friend meant well, but he says like, oh, this 22-year-old girl came from there. She did that and she has with her. And I'm like, luckily I had enough knowledge that I know what kind of experience the real shaman that can lead can is the
mhm,
right person for the session or what's the right word for it, but so he can actually lead you through all of this process, right? And
mhm,
I see the big problem in this because I met people that did with the wrong people ayahuasca and they are now lost in a different frequency. I met them in
mhm,
Slovenia one and I could just feel
mhm,
him. I could, and this is something that I would really like that you through today's conversation uh, talk about these ethics, what they actually, if you can tell us what these ethics are and how
mhm,
you see them, maybe what you just started talking, but what are these ethics that people should be aware of it if they decide to go on this kind of journey for themselves, but they never have experience before?
mhm. Good question. In general, the ethics of newcomer people, basically unexperienced people, should be like, this is very delicate topic, because it's like we are not all the same,
True.
and not for everyone is the same approach. For some, the approach is to go full on, and some need more gentle approach, depending on the personality on the person. And yeah, one of the ethics I am standing by is like always starting with the lowest active dose. Always starting with lowest active dose, especially with people who come for the first time. And it's very interesting that even people who already experienced bufo or ayahuasca with other people, when they come to us, basically we treat them as if they would come for the first time. And we see normally that people have amazing experiences just with small doses, but is part of set on setting. That's the main thing. Also preparing the people, preparing the setting, and what kind of information we share to the people before the ceremony, what we tell them, what is the medicine itself. All the informations are basically part of the ethical structure. And the thing is, to be ethical is to be honest. And to be honest is to tell all the sides, not just one side of the experiences. And yeah, the thing is that it's not just rainbows and unicorns and like imaginary experiences, but it's like also hard work. And this is not much what in Western societies talk about, and especially about the psychedelics.
It's true.
It's talk about the benefits and how it positive transforms the life, but it doesn't. We don't share about challenging experiences, what kind of challenges we encountered through the healing process. And yeah, getting informed the people about also the challenges, and to be beside the people after the experience, because experience is just one part. The whole experience starts afterwards in our life, when we come home, when the integration comes. And this is the most important part for people, because this is an important part for everyone, because the integration is the most important.
True.
But most of the people forget about the integration, and most of the people are not offering assistance in the integration. They're just offering more medicine. That's the thing. And normally people in general need to talk. They need to open and start to talk about their life experiences, and in general what they went through inside of the experience they just went. And when we start to talk, we start to unburden ourselves. We start to release, to say what we are processing in that moment. There's a lot of sandflies around here.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I'm also smoking, so I'm taking away the sandflies. Yeah, it's quite challenging here in the jungle. Can be because of the insects and mosquitoes and stuff. It can be quite challenging in the moments.
For sure, for sure.
And yeah, in general, people should listen their instincts, to say, to themselves. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
If something doesn't feel right, probably doesn't feel right.
It's not right. Yeah, it's maybe I can share the story. What you just said is like integration, right? So my experience with the mushrooms, right, was very positive. And they told me what I need to do in my life at that moment. This was the only time that I took mushrooms without proper mindset, angry,
Mhm.
frustrated with the life, you know.
Mhm.
And the right away when it kicked in, this is they told me, we told you the last time what you need to do,
Mhm.
and you came back. Okay, you
Mhm.
didn't listen. Okay, so they're like, I guess you need to experience all the traumas again. So you will do what you need to do. And they took me on an 8 hour trip that was just the only one that I had. It's not a bad experience, but
Mhm.
before you, I would call it bad experience, but it was 8 hours of just going through every trauma of my
Mhm.
life that I had to heal. What they told me before, what I need to do to heal it,
Mhm.
and I didn't listen. And I tell you what, that was the experience I exactly needed because I realized how much work I have to do, and then I need to really listen what they say, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if you had that in mind, but that was my experience with not doing integration properly. So
Exactly.
I did after that one. After that, I listened more of, but
Mhm.
that was my part of not listening, right? And
Mhm.
wanting more medicine, but they gave me already the answer, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, so uh, I would just like before we continue with the journey, just you know, you're doing this for a while now, and I just would like to emphasize how experienced you actually are at your young age. Still, you are 35. Uh, you are very young. You're very young in this
Mhm.
world, but your soul is very, very old. Yes, and that's why you do what you do. This is why you are on this planet. And you mentioned before you were invited. Um, and if you would like to share with who you worked, because I think because
Mhm.
of this media and people like who you work with, and what was that experience for you?
Yeah, I work with Dr. Gerardo Sandoval-Isaac. He's a well-known buffer facilitator. He invited me to be his personal assistant. But meanwhile, working, some things showed up that for me was totally not ethic
Okay,
in a way of relations with
okay,
people, to say.
okay,
And also afterwards, we saw the way he's also working is unethical approach,
okay,
and is like overdosing people. He serves like from 90 milligrams to 150 milligrams per dosage, and is too much for people from the Western society. Even for people who have like very, very deep spiritual practice and medicine practice can be a lot, to say.
okay,
And he's serving like such doses to everyone. So I was present in more than 150 ceremonies with him. But afterwards, I cut the connection because something happened that was totally unethical,
okay,
involving giving a psychedelic to a person that he didn't know about receiving it.
okay,
So afterwards, I cut the connections and start to explore the medicine on my own. Then
Can I
I
ask you a
introduced.
question about this? How this experience and how this experience, and I'm not really sure if I can put on YouTube this what you just said because of the legal stuff, but anyway, I'll check. But I really don't know because I don't mind putting there, but I don't know, but we'll see.
Mhm.
Anyway, but how this experience, because you had to go through this experience, you personally, if we look,
Mhm.
so you'll know what the ethics are, how that you are not that person who will do that.
Mhm.
Is that
Exactly.
what exactly right?
Exactly. That's the direct experience
Yeah.
to learn directly how it should not be done.
Hmm.
That's the main thing. And afterwards, basically, when I started to share Bufo, I still did one series of how I was learned to say.
For sure.
And afterwards, I saw that is not the way
Hmm.
because it's too much for people. It's so powerful experience that people have like super challenging experience afterwards in their life
Hmm.
for up to 4 or 5 years. But when they go through the experience and integrating the whole experience, each one said that if they would not experience such experience, they would never change in their life. So it's one of the most powerful transformative experiences, but we can do it in a more ethical way and in more
Gentle way.
gentle way where people are understanding what they are going through,
I understand.
and people are then more conscious of the experience, more conscious of themselves. They start to understand what they are releasing, what they are liberating from. um, there are some very interesting accounts that happened in recent years that is like surprising how this medicine really works.
Hmm.
And from the past experiences, basically I shared till now this medicine to ayahuasqueros that work more than 30 years with ayahuasca cooks who cook ayahuasca, with Buddhist monk, with Zazen teacher, with also with native people, and we have amazing results, basically amazing accounts what they tell afterwards, what they went through. And everything is basically done by proper introduction, the right information, um, and a proper way of dosing, of knowing how much people can hold. Because I learned different approaches with this medicine, and normally I talk with people what kind of approach they would like, how they are approaching their life, because every person is different, to say, like we said before.
Hmm.
And mm, it doesn't work for everyone the same.
For sure.
That's the main thing.
It doesn't.
Hmm.
But what you just said is exactly what my friends said. So intention, environment, integration, they got all there and they felt amazing, right? And they felt safe and just
Hmm.
they really, and I told my friends that like even before we met, they said, she was just talking about you. And through my experience, what she told me, just I didn't see any pictures or anything or anything.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, he's the right one. I was like, yeah, he's the right one. And I'm like, and I told her, stick with him. Don't go to any other journeys anymore. You don't need it. You got the bad experience where you had to learn stuff. Now you have the right guy who will lead you to where you need to go. And it's true. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
To
I don't
work
know how to
through.
explain it. It's just like I got all this. I just knew right away, that you're the right guy for that because just from explaining, because I studied so much and I have my own experience that I know all these points for the last 15
Mhm,
years, and I've been telling people whoever asked me about this from my personal experience, I told them pretty much
mhm,
the same thing, like educate yourself, be in the right, mindset,
mhm,
know how, you really need to know what you do because it's like you said, everybody's just like, oh, is this rainbows and everything is
mhm,
fine. No. Why? Because this medicine they can help you do 20 years of therapy in one night,
mhm,
of the inner work, of the traumas, of whatever you're dealing with.
mhm,
And that should not be easy. It's not easy and should not be easy
mhm,
because it can't be easy. If it would be, we don't not have this conversation right now.
mhm,
And these people don't understand everything. Oh, like I will take whatever, and tomorrow will be everything. That was my approach too at the beginning. Oh, I'm gonna take
mhm,
mushrooms, and my life will next day will be sort of. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just starting now. After you
mhm,
take, you just start because you start realizing what you need to do because it's shown in a right way to you through that, with all due respect to all psychiatrists and all of the other
mhm,
professions that deal with with mental issues, with PTSD, with all of that stuff,
mhm,
you can only assist to a person if he decides, and you can't, because this is you can't replace the medicine because it's a
mhm.
nature and it's been there forever, and it's there
Exactly.
for us to use it, but through the system and through years and centuries of all this hiding. So the society
Mhm,
that that we are hooked to the health system, that all of the pills we need to take instead of just using this. And I'm not against the
mhm.
the because in my beliefs it needs to go hand to hand,
Hand to hand, exactly.
because I can't, if I break my leg or I need a really surgery, I need to go
Mhm,
there. I can't go to Brazil or whatever to shaman and
mhm.
like, oh, give me an ayahuasca and,
Yeah.
fix my broken leg, right? It doesn't work like that. But
Yes.
so it needs to be like some balance into it, right?
Mhm.
And
True.
this is what I really like. This is why I'm so excited talking to you because you have
I'm.
that. I know you're the right person for this conversation. And maybe this is the time for next question. Where is at this moment, from your point of view, this shaman world of plant-based medicine and
Mhm,
Western world, because through history, they through McKenna, Leary, and different guys that in the West they introduced this.
mhm,
Then the LSD started different research, and it was stopped, and so on. People who
mhm,
don't know, they can just type in Google. There's so many information about that. Now you have
mhm,
in London, it's only one not university, but institute that is allowed to do
mhm,
uh, DMT through I don't know, it's called artificial, but it's not the DMT you work with. It's a DMT probably made in a laboratory, and it's placed through the for 1 hour. You're in that state,
mhm,
dosed very carefully under supervision and so on.
mhm.
So, in
IV.
your opinion, where we are at this moment, these two
Where
worlds,
we are in this moment. We are in this moment. Yeah,
still
like
learning,
many
still
people,
fighting.
many people say that we as a society we are coming to a 0 point. Also, McKenna mentioned this in his theory of 0 point, where as a society we are coming to a point of like zero.
to beginning
We
it,
we are we, we,
or
we are coming to a lowest state of way of being as a society.
okay,
We as humans, our relations are at zero state. This is how we are treating with each other. This is how we treat our planet. This is how we treat our Mother Earth as zero state. We don't care as a society. Maybe some of us care, but we are like maybe small bunch of us. But there's more and more people who are getting towards these trendy ideas that are just spreading all around the world through society, through ayahuasca, and through ceremonial spaces, and through shamanic practices. It's also kind of ideological, but the experience is not. We are not there yet, but we are going towards such way of being, such way of living, and more people basically are embracing this way of living, to say.
back to
And
nature,
yeah, back to nature, exactly.
connecting back
But
to nature, to
mhm,
nature.
we have all the technology we need in ourselves.
Mm,
That's the main thing. We just we came to a point where the split inside of our personality, of our psyche, became so powerful that the technology we manifest is now physical. Before Wi-Fi, the telepathic thing was present. Even now is present.
mm,
But nowadays we have like technology, we talk through technology. But back in days, people were connected in a way they took some medicine and they connected with their family and they talk with the family. Just recently, we hosted also a PRO, a shaman from Venezuela. They use yopo medicine, and he said that he uses yopo through day to connect with his family, that he can see his daughter, his wife, that they are okay. And this is like the ancient way of communicating, to say, through plants. And I believe, yeah, hopefully as a society, we can still have enough time to steer our society in a different way.
mhm.
Because when you come to the Amazon rainforest, when you see what Western society did to nature, you are basically shocked. Is one of the most interesting experiences I even went through my life. Feeling feeling amazing beauty all around, and feeling super sad because we destroyed a lot of this nature, pristine nature, just to make good business.
Yeah,
And not we people, just one percentage of the people
yeah.
who have this. And that's the thing, that people are getting more and more conscious about how our system is built, to say.
Yeah.
And it started basically through movies like The Matrix and like different kind of movies. And maybe in the future they will even say it's not a movie but it's a documentary.
They already say that, and I agree with it because for me, when I you mentioned the Matrix, for me it was like I need a couple years to even see it, right? I was like, oh, they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not interested. And then I was like, and when I saw the first part, the first,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, this is it. This is
Mm-hmm.
this is it. I was like, exactly, and it kind of just started, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the way I, what you just said, the way I, people, the way I see it, that also times are changing in, let's say, in different dimension times, and we are in different um, Maya and different
Mhm.
the time right now and everything that influences around, not just plant-based medicine, the energies, the moon, the everything, the whole everything works right now exponential. So we are in very exciting times where um, we are in a war of spirituality, spiritual war. It's one of the
Mhm.
things. And the second thing is that everything that you do right now in your life,
Mhm.
exponentially, it's working in good or bad way, or good in bad way.
Mhm.
So people right now are awakening in exponential way really
Mhm.
fast. I
Frequent,
think
yeah, yeah.
I think the COVID was, one
Mhm.
of those moments that at the beginning looked like the end of the our lives and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody's going to be slaves, but actually
Mhm.
worked it a little bit opposite of
Opposite.
what I thought. Because why? Why? Because people were actually forced to stop from
Mhm.
their daily life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, they were forced to think where they are with the life. So many
Exactly.
divorces happened because couples were forced to be together.
Yeah.
So many people, including me. I'm not here like, oh no, that didn't happen to me. I was
Mhm.
forced, not forced like, oh, you have to, but there was so much time that like
Mhm.
you can watch so many movies or read so many books that you were
Mhm.
alone with your thoughts and you were like,
Mhm.
you had to do exam of your life.
Mhm.
And what happened there, what they told us was like later on, because that group was the most that were between, oh, do we believe the system or is this, whatever, right? Or we don't. And that group that
Yeah.
was between,
Yeah, yeah,
later,
yeah.
some of them, most of them saw like, oh, wait, you told us this, but actually in the end was not that. So
Mhm.
those started like more awakening, right? So that group,
Mhm.
because not everybody will awake or everybody will be, you know, go to a
Mhm.
plant medicine. Not everybody's here in this world to wake up anyway. So, but that's a
Exactly.
different point now, right now, but it's not important. But,
Mhm.
you know, but if we go a little back to the healing part, right? Can
Mhm.
you maybe just tell us um, what kind of issues or because I know that also like health issues are solved on a different plant-based medicines, or is that ayahuasca or DMT or whatever? But can
Mhm.
you maybe tell us a couple examples what people kind of healed or bes- what kind, just couple
Yeah.
of names so people understand that this is
There were from suicidal people,
Mhm.
depression, cancer, um, skin problems, any kind of disease, basically. But the person needs to be open towards healing.
Yeah, for sure.
Basically, um, we we are healing through joy, basically through good experiences, and also some people can encounter challenging experience, but normally people that came with a certain kind of ailment. For example, my mother's friend, she decided to come on Cambo in Bufo when she got breast cancer. Before already, my mother invited her if she would like to experience like a spiritual experience as she was describing to her, but she was not interested. But after she got breast cancer, she decided to come. But she came for Cambo. But when we talk, somehow through the talk, what she was telling and everything together, I basically proposed if she would like to smoke bufo. And she decided to do it. And in her first experience, she experienced like pressure from her left breast where she had cancer. She said that it felt like water is flowing out of her hand, that the pressure was just flowing out of her hand. And then she decided to do it again. And in next experience, she said that she started to confront herself with issues she had with her mother, and that it was a little bit more challenging experience. Then we decided to make Kambo 1 week later, and she did Kambo, and then she went on exams 14 days later. And she told the doctors that she's refusing the official treatment for cancer and that she started to use frog and toad medicine. And the doctors went even a little bit crazy that she should not use such medicine that is not proven, blah, 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 blah. And then they made exams. And when they came with exams back, they asked her what kind of frog and toad she's using, because it's clearly working, because there's no more cancer.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was one of the
here's the
experiences.
problem we are facing around the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, a Serbian guy came who had a suicidal tendency, and he smoked 2 times, and then somehow he was still, when the ceremonies were over, he was still there. Somehow he was like not wanting to go, and I asked him if he would like to smoke again, to do it another time, and he said like yes. And in that time he received a slightly higher dose, and after the experience, what he said that the idiot that existed in him finally died, that he wanted to kill himself many times in life, and that now this person has finally died. And he said that he feels reborn again, like fresh start in his life.
Yeah.
So bufo medicine is like complete reset to our energetic system. Whatever trauma, whatever energetic blockage we are carrying in our system, bufo literally dissolves, releases. Me, myself personally, when I traveled to Amazon like 4 days ago, 5 days ago, I experienced very powerful pain in my leg from 36 hours traveling direct, like no stopping. And it hurt me for 2 days. Then I decided to take a small dosage of bufo, and it releases the whole system, to say. It's also antiseptic. So if we have like tension in muscles or in body, it's a great medicine to release the tension.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great modality. We started to learn about it. Bufo is a medicine that basically was found out in 80s by our Western society,
Mm-hmm.
by a guy who wrote a Bufo Alvarius pamphlet. He made a synonym. I'm not remembering the synonym name right now.
Okay.
But he was a nuclear activist who was researching native culture, and he found out that Apache Native Americans had like a burial sighting where they found more than 10,000 different skeletons of different kind of toads. And also Bufalvarius was included. And in same year, two Italian guys went to make a taxonomy around the world
I don't know what it is.
from toads.
Aha, okay.
Taxonomy means that they go to analyze the bufotoxins, what
Okay.
the toad secretes. So they went all around the world and make analyses from the toad secretions. And this guy, Ken Nelson from Arizona, he saw that Bufo alvarius secretes 5-MeO-DMT. So he went to find the toad and tried out. So he wrote afterwards 10,000 copies of Bufo alvarius pamphlet. In this Bufo alvarius pamphlet is written where they live, how they look. He even draw them. He wrote how to prepare yourself for the experience and dosage chart and everything what you need to know about the toad and about before the experience. And he made 10,000 copies, went to Rainbow Festival and just give it away and disappeared. And then basically these Mexican doctors, there are two doctors from Mexico. One is Dr. Jerry and one is Dr. Octavio, and they started to spread this medicine all around the world. Basically, they were like two tornadoes going all around the world, sharing medicine in very irresponsible way. Some people even died through this. That's the main thing. That one of them even used electroshocks in the ceremony and blows hape on the peak of the experience. So some accidents happened on their ceremonies. That's why we also started to basically spread the word around the world about Bufo gangsters, because literally they are people who make a monopoly. They are playing monopoly with medicine, to say, and
Everywhere
they
is the
want to
same, huh? In everywhere
everywhere
is the
the
same,
same.
huh?
Yeah, business model,
Yeah. Let's make money.
business model. So yeah, we started to explore this medicine in a way that is more ancestral way. So we started also to cooperate with different ancestral cultures, with Huni Queen, with Noke Queen, Yawanawa, recently also Pirawa tribe. And in past years, we also hosted Colombian Taita. And yeah, we just started also to make this project in Amazon rainforest, where we went to learn the native tribe, to learn them ways of natural building with clay and natural material. So we started to cooperate with Nokekoi people. We hosted them last year many times, like 4 or 5 times in Slovenia. First, the Page, the younger Page that I just visited here now. And then in November, also his teacher came, that is like around 70 years old. And yeah, they basically like the center we built. They like also the way we work. One of them decided also to do bufo, and he said after the bufo experience, these are basically people who drink ayahuasca all their life,
Yeah.
or all their life.
Yeah.
And he said that he did many dietas with ayahuasca and many different kind of approaches to help himself with a certain blockage he found out that he had in his head. He said that he sensed that he have a blockage in his head, And he said after second time of bufo that the blockage just disappeared, that just dissolved, that he doesn't feel the blockage anymore.
For me personally, what you just mentioned now, that people like that
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know. Are you before I continue my thought, can I ask you one question? Like, is are you called shaman? Is that the correct word, or what is
I
the
mean, I
correct?
mean, I mean, I don't consider myself a shaman.
Okay,
For I'm just a medicine carrier.
okay,
For my perception, the real shaman is the medicine itself.
okay, okay. Just to clarify, that's all. So, but my thought was to to say that people
Hmm.
like that you just mentioned from tribes coming to you. Just in the end of the day, let's be real, you're a Western.
Yeah.
Okay. You're Western. And it was always, even for me, you changed my perspective when I met you, right? When we had like online coffee before, so we could organize
Hmm.
this, right? And we got a really long conversation in the end, but you changed my perspective because you that people like that it's in their history, it's in their like, so usually the shamans or the people that are medicine people for their village or in their culture, right,
Hmm.
is not just like the people that decide, but it's basically uh, how do you say, through ancestors is given to that person in place. So maybe there's like a guy who's 80, 90, and maybe he has a son, but this son was not chosen by the how what's the right word, in this his lifetime to be the next guy
Hmm.
in the line, but was maybe his grandson or
Hmm.
something like that, right?
Hmm.
So it's not a Western culture. That's my point, right? So that people like
Hmm.
that come to learn from you, from me personally. That's the sign of doing the right work you do, right? Because they've been around for 40, 50 years of doing this, like you said, doing ayahuasca basically. No, I'm not going to say every day, but very, very often,
Hmm.
and they saw the spiritual world, the healing world, the dimensions that for majority of people is unknown or a fairy tale. Let's be honest,
Hmm.
you know. So for
Hmm.
me to have a conversation with you, I've been waiting for this conversation for 15 years, honestly. For 15 years, I've been waiting to have this conversation. I didn't know it want to come from Slovenian guy, honestly. I thought I'm gonna talk to somebody from Peru or South America in general, you know.
Hmm.
So thank you for that, really, like, because for me it's like I've been reading so much about this for 15 years, and now I just got a different view on all of it, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so yeah, but um how would you describe, if you can describe, dimensions that people uh, encounter on these
Hmm.
journeys?
Yeah, it's basically very simple.
Okay,
Very simple. Basically, it's very old shamanic way of perceiving our reality,
okay,
and it comes also from animistic ways of perceiving our reality. That's why maybe some people have challenges with ayahuasca because they are not educated about shamanic practice,
okay,
about practice in general, what kind of worlds are entering shamans through their shamanic practices all around the world. Because, for example, a shaman word comes from Tungu language of Siberian shamans. It's not like not everywhere are shamans, to say. Here they are pages, where somewhere else are curanderos. Somewhere else they call them even brujos or different kind of names and stuff. But they are working through the same field of worlds, to say. We have our center world from where we are coming from, living world, our heart world. We experience in this world joy, love, also can experience sadness because it's also part of it, and also can experience anger, but it's also all from
Emotions
domain
in
of
general, yeah.
humanity.
Yeah.
And then you have upper worlds like the higher states of consciousness, where there are ecstatic experiences, trans states of consciousness, through singing, through dancing, through chanting, through prayer. And we have then the lower worlds, where is more like more rooted experience, to say, more underworldly. We are entering our shadow part of ourself. And here people can get a bit scared, but it's also just part of us, to say. We go to the shadow because we need to understand we are the light that we are searching for. That's the main thing. And through such experience, you start to encounter the force we call God. Many people around the world name this force different names: Wakantanka, Yushibu, Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever label we want to put on this form of energy is just limiting it. That's the thing. But we start to encounter this field of energy inside of ourselves, inside of our being. And through feeling and seeing this force inside of ourselves, we start to see this force in all around the world, to say, in every single grain of sand, to the biggest and to the smallest. And we start to realize we are one consciousness. We are coming from one consciousness.
Yep.
And this consciousness is not different between plant, animal, or human consciousness. We are consciousness. And I believe through such experiences, all the racial and all the immoral ideas that we started to carry as human beings would fall away.
And here
The
is
main
another
thing,
reason why this is was always labeled as a drug and
exactly,
negatively presented to people and trying to hide it from our history. Because if
exactly,
people are not divided, they cannot fight and they cannot be
exactly.
manipulated because
Mhm.
racism is learned, is not in you.
Exactly. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Oh, what is that? Can I ask?
I'm using HP.
Happy. Okay. Could you explain later when you're done what happy is?
Good. HP is basically a snuff tobacco. It's from Amazonian regions, and it's made from a certain kind of tobacco that is not normal tobacco that we smoke, but is Nicotiana rustica.
Hmm.
Is 20 times stronger tobacco than normal,
Okay.
but is not smoked, but is basically snuffed. Somebody blows to you or you blow to yourself, and it clears your mind and gives you focus, tribal people help use it for to sing better, to be more focused and be more conscious. So it's a tool also that
Again,
we
yeah.
use beside ayahuasca and through our daily lives, to say that we can speak more clear words and the words that are meant to be spoken.
Yeah, there's so many tools in nature
True.
that I think we are waking up to remember them again. Not discover,
Exactly.
but remembering because it's already everything here and we already
Yeah,
had
yeah,
everything. And then the history
exactly.
changed. That is completely a different podcast, so we're not going to go there. But no, it's completely different podcast.
Yeah,
And we can talk about it some other time. But the history but it's we already everything had. It was already
exactly.
perfect and peace and love and bigger and better technologies that we can even imagine right now in the past. But we need to remember again. And only the way to remember is through our heart and to heal our traumas and everything that blocking this energy to remember. How you do it?
Yeah, exactly.
How you do it? Or you do it your way, the way you do it, or you do it through hypnosis, or you do it to
Exactly.
singing, prayer,
Yeah,
whatever. It doesn't really matter. This is just,
exactly.
this is what we need. Everybody's trying to get there, right?
Exactly.
But it's again, I would like to say it's not easy because your ego is protecting you.
Hmm.
It's fighting you because this is what he's used to. And we're not talking about ego, oh, I'm the best, I'm whatever, but we're talking the ego that your child created when you had a trauma.
Exactly. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And you have to, I'm talking from experience, I'm not talking from the book.
Yes.
I
Yep,
had to
yep, yep.
talk to my ego to tell him that I'm safe now, that that guy is that I'm not a child anymore because he put the safety safety, how do you say, um, s- yeah, safety tools in my life that put in my program that keep me safe. And I had to tell him that I don't need these tools anymore, and he can. And it was a hard process of months talking to him,
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
could change my program the way I function now. And this is what
Yeah,
people need to understand that when they go through the plant-based medicine, is that first of all, if you don't know, these worlds collide. These
yeah,
dimensions, these worlds that are you get into it through plant-based medicine, and your ego
true.
is fighting them. And you need to be led by a person who knows what you're doing because if you are fighting too much, you can get scared and then stays. That's why you meant before 4 or 5 years if you get too high dosage. If you do it with the
Exactly,
wrong person, if you do it, whatever, with the wrong medicine, corrupted
exactly.
medicine,
Yeah,
so many factors that you need to be careful,
many, many factors.
you
Even
know.
even people going to Amazon rainforest and coming back with super traumatic
Yeah,
experiences. That's a topic, a huge topic these days, to say.
yeah,
Even the thing is that even some native people doesn't have feeling for Western people. They do the same way as they do for themselves, but they are used of such medicine from young ages.
yeah,
And yeah, also here in South America, as we heard, people started to get educated about Western people, because we in Western culture there's different programming of people through education, through schools, through work, through society. We are different, to say. They are very simple beings. How they operate here in South America, and especially the indigenous people, they are simple beings. They are not so complex as Western people. Even their language is super simple. And that's what I'm also seeing, that many things that are hidden inside of our language,
Hmm.
that we are programmed through our language.
Of course.
And for example, also in Slovenian words, we can find many hidden meanings inside of a word. And always everything was connected with control, with controlling the people. And it's very interesting that we recently, you know, the concept of anarchy.
Hmm.
We in Western society, we don't know what anarchy really means because we didn't experience it yet. But there is an existing society in South America that have an anarchy system, and
Okay.
it's Piaroa tribe from
Okay.
Venezuela. We just recently experienced Yopo with them, and this tribe is the only existing society that have anarchy system,
Could you
and is the
explain a
most
little
people,
bit the
is the
system?
most peaceful society.
Okay.
Basically, in this society, there's no leader, there's no government, and every person is self-governed, make his own rules on his own land, to say. And it showed up that is the most peaceful society on this planet. That's the main thing. How it reflects, you know, they have anarchy system that we as Western society, we think that this is like a chaotic system, like there would be killing, we would kill each other and blah 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 blah. But there is existing society in Amazon rainforest that have anarchistic system, to say, and they are self-governed. They are the most peaceful from all the tribes in South America. They don't kill each other, they don't kill neighbors, and even they consider it very bad thing if you kill someone. And one of the things they don't support is like they don't support ambition, because through ambition comes greed, and through greed they believe comes cannibalism. So they are not supporting people who wants to make money. For example, they make different kind of artworks like this one, and if somebody starts to make it like a lot to make a lot of money, they don't support him. They said stop, you should not do this. So it's quite of interesting society, to say. And they use yopo medicine. Yopo medicine is like a bridge between ayahuasca and bufo.
Okay.
It's something in between of ayahuasca and bufo. And the molecular structure is also similar to bufo and also to ayahuasca, to say. And is one of the most ancient recorded tribal medicine, to say.
Okay.
It reaches more than 5,000 years ago. So
There's a lot
ancient,
we need
ancient,
to learn.
ancient medicine.
Yeah.
Exactly. As a Western culture, you know, the native people consider us as younger brother.
Yeah, and Western people, we think we or they think that they are. behind us, right? Because
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and yeah,
We
but look, the
we thought,
Western world in general is lost. Is
yeah,
lost in is lost in what is important,
exactly.
you know, and
Mm-hmm,
I'm not, I was not, or I'm not. For example, that was part of my thinking for some
mm-hmm,
short period of time where I was really, I thought this is it. However, it made me really, really unhappy. So I knew that's not the right way.
mm-hmm,
So I'm not here, or now crowning myself being pure or whatever. Far, far from that. Um,
mm-hmm,
but as a society, our what is important is lost. But if we come back, what we mentioned before, people are awaking, people are changing, people are going back to the
mm-hmm,
nature. They're more and more connected to the nature again. So,
mm-hmm,
for me, I see it positively. I think the
mm-hmm,
uh, it- positive is happening, but there's a lot of stuff. We can go also into the thinking like you create your own reality, and then you can create your own world and so on. But this is
mm-hmm,
again, this is the how would you say a different um, um, a different theories that we can discuss how we can create the world. In one of my sessions of QHHT, I was shown, I called it at that point Earth Point 2.0, where I
mm-hmm,
was showed how, so there was like no wars, no jealousy, no greed. Everybody was born, they knew what their what they are there for, what is their purpose in life. So there was like a leadership, but they were, let's call them people or whatever, but because they involve so much that they could, so that they could, okay,
I will just move the space because there is too much
no problem.
mosquito bites and sand flies and everything together. I'm getting too much bitten. So I will move the space. No
No
worries. You can
problem.
talk. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so they involved as human beings, so they got to a next level of consciousness. So that's in their job in that period of life or that next life or whatever you want to call it was that they were leading this. And then when they're done with this learning process in the next period of life, or because we're all energy, they would do something else. They would go to next level of consciousness and so on, right? But to get what you said today about this tribe that living anarchy way, let's call it like that,
Mhm.
is something that remind me of that experience. Let's call it, yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that as a human being, we will, in the end of the day, if we look at from this point of view, it doesn't really matter, right? We are just trying our talking now is our part of experience that we're gonna do it as a beings here that we chosen,
Mhm.
that we chosen to remember who we are and try to do our best to help this world in this our lifetime.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. True.
a lot of people chosen this life. Not all of them are here for the same reason. Not all of them are the way we are born. This is again another topic, but uh, yeah, we just need to do our best and help people to remember who they are. And then one by
Exactly.
one, the energy of the planet will change, and hopefully, we'll get there where we want to go in a peaceful life, in a peaceful world. And, you know,
Sooner or later.
sooner or later, yeah, sooner or later.
Yes, we are on already on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Um,
True, true. I can just I can just confirm because when you were describing the Earth 2.0,
yeah.
I was thinking maybe this is already existing and we are living it.
Yeah, that's a good
Yes, that,
that's what I said before, how we create our own reality. So,
exactly.
this is the way for me. Is like, okay, if I live like that, I will create for myself that reality.
Hmm.
Let me say what I heard really great explanation of social media and everything that we take in or through television, movies, or whatever, right?
Hmm.
Is every time you are on TikTok or whatever social media and you change, you go to a different reality and you put in your subconscious the realities. Because if you don't
Yep,
watch, that reality doesn't exist. You don't even know that exists.
true.
So if the tribe doesn't have a TV, and they don't still have a lot of them, they don't
Hmm.
even know that this reality exists,
Exist.
that you and me are
Exactly.
living in the Western world. So,
Exactly.
so who's right?
Hmm.
Huh? Who's living better
The,
life? The simple
exactly.
people that we call
Exactly.
them, or we
Hmm. The
24
advanced one.
hours a day,
Yeah.
connected to something, to the job, to the payments, to the TikTok, to, oh my God, I see on Instagram they're living this fabulous life on yachts and promoting that this is the life, and 90% of that is all fake and made up anyway, right? And
Hmm.
this is promoted to young people and so on and so on. And what is
Yeah.
important. And while we call these people, the tribes, like people that are uneducated and so behind us, but basically they're happier than us.
Yeah. True.
So,
True.
who's crazy
But
now here? Like,
the
but
but the
everybody
thing is
will
that.
not go to the rainforest to live, or to the forest
Hmm.
in Slovenia or USA and be self-sufficient. So, definitely, as a society, we need to find some middle ground. So everybody needs to find what works for him, and
Exactly.
that's the only ways to, again, to find who they are, and who each of us needs to find ourselves, and everything is inside
Exactly.
of us, and we need to wake that up. That's it sounds simple, it's not, but it is at the same time.
True. Self exploration.
Yes, it's all, and it's
That's
not
the thing.
pleasant. And people, including me, I was afraid of that, and until the pain was so much that I had to deal with it. It was just too
Hmm.
much. I had to deal with it, and I
Hmm.
was dealing for a period of 2 years. And if I thought that before I went through some stuff, nah, it was painful. I had to forgive,
Yep.
forget, ask for forgiveness, and deal with my egos, and both egos, the one that we discussed before and the one that, like, oh, I don't need this. Uh,
Hmm.
but the reward after that is such an inner peace that I never
Yeah.
experienced before.
Exactly. It's
And
worth
life
it.
is so much lighter now. And this is why I do this, and have people like you to show people that hopefully will resonate, the people that will resonate with you and this type of healing. And they'll say, like, you know what, I'm going to give it a go and help myself. And hopefully they will come to you or find somebody like you and do their own research
Exactly.
properly and do
True,
it
true,
wherever
true.
they are from. And, hopefully, and then they will be happier and wake up, like, oh, great. Now I'm gonna go to the job that I love, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be even happier. Yeah. Or are you gonna be like, this job is not for me, what the heck? And he'll gonna do
Hmm.
something else. It doesn't really matter. Just be happier and vibrate higher, and this is how you're gonna change the world. Because people think that everybody that, let's so-called, are spiritual. I don't really like that word actually, but that
Hmm.
everybody needs to be shamans, that everybody needs to live in a forest. It's not about it. It's just about vibrating higher. Hey, if you like to
Hmm.
work in a bank or whatever that means for you, whatever you liked, do that and
Yep,
be happier there.
exactly,
Like, and you're gonna change that people that are there in a bank, and because you're gonna be happier, they're gonna be around happier, and so on. You know,
exactly.
it's like that, and
Uh-huh.
you know,
Simple, very simple.
yeah, it's simple. But
Just
for
doing,
me, I need a
just
very
doing
long time
what
to
you
get
love.
to there. So
Yeah, true. A long road,
it's a lot. It was a long road.
a long
It
road
still
to
is.
simplicity.
Yeah, and I'm still learning, so not, I'm still learning every day stuff.
So here is the place we are building a ceremony
Show me.
space for the tribe.
Okay,
We just started to make holes for the foundation,
okay,
and it will be 15 meters big in the central space
okay. So this will be for ceremonies or for them for living? I didn't hear you.
for ceremonies.
Okay,
Basically, they are building Institute Nokekoi. It's like a school and education center.
okay.
It's one of the tribes who still 90% of the population still speak native language, their own language. So they want to preserve the culture as possible as it is.
Yeah. And what are kind of the
And
cultural things that maybe you would like to share with us there, like maybe in
uh, they
everyday
do
life, their
they do
everyday life?
body paintings, traditional dance. You go to catch Cambo frogs also with the tribe and make ceremonies with Cambo frog. They also do ayahuasca ceremonies,
Hmm.
and they have like games, traditional games that they play, boys versus women, and it's like interesting. We will have this weekend some traditional stuff
Nice,
going on, so
nice.
it's very nice to be here. Very nice to spend time with the tribe, spend time in the jungle, and building. Building is very nice. Basically, we were talking. You mentioned the word spirituality
Hmm.
before, and yeah, nowadays people are thinking many things about spirituality.
Hmm.
It's like again a concept, an idea that if you maybe drink ayahuasca and you do cambo and different kind of stuff, you are spiritual. But it's really not about doing ayahuasca and that you are spiritual. Basically, spirituality is hidden in most simple things as planting a seed and maybe feeling empathic towards another person. Empathy is basically even in Buddhism considered the first spiritual experience. And one of things I started to understand also that building houses can be one of most spiritual experiences we have in our life, basically building a sacred space for yourself, and it's one of the forgotten knowledges of our ancestors. Before, when we were living in tribal times, we basically were building each for ourselves. You built your own home, but nowadays, we have industry, and when industry came, everything started to change. Our family structure started to change in Europe, where basically atomic families started to form. And this atomic family is a family that expects that their children, when they grow up, that they go away and they find their own land and they make their own family, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But back in days in Europe and all around the world, families were considered a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And even people that were not blood related were considered a family. For example, in native cultures, if two or three brothers had, one of them had a son, all of these three fathers for this kid would be father for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we as society, we came very far, to say. You know, Aborigines, they didn't have a word for thank you, because there is nothing to thankful for, because it's natural from human being to give. It's in our nature to give. That's why they didn't form a word thank you. There's not in their vocabulary, to say. And this is how we started to basically learn from ancient cultures, when we started to open with each other, when some of their leaders or curanderos or shamans started to trust people from Western society. And it's like ongoing process. We are still in this process of meeting the Americas and coming to these lands, to say. It's not far away when we came to these parts of the jungles, to say. Maybe 250, 300 years ago, we first time stepped to this jungle as Western people. And nowadays we came to 21st century, and when you go on Google Earth, you can see the effect from Western society, how much forest we already cut down. It's like a virus spreading through the Amazon rainforest. So it's a bit sad and scary to see. That's why we also came to support the tribe. Also, a lot of people helped to support the project. I would also like to thank these people if they're watching. They support to give for the ticket, to buy the ticket for me and Hermano, so we could came to the Amazon rainforest and help with the building and start teaching the tribe about natural construction. So people are also helping in this project, and hopefully in the future more and more people will help towards reforesting and regenerating our planet and people and cultures and each other and ourselves, basically.
Is there any uh, website or something where they can people find you to for this project, or maybe
Yeah,
somebody will watch here and wants
there,
to help?
there's also a GoFundMe project if somebody would like to donate something for the project that
Okay.
the buildings can be built. There's a GoFundMe. I can also share a link.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put it there when
Mhm.
I'll be editing, and I'll put it there. Well, whatever links you need to be shared. So
Yeah,
we'll do that.
I will share the links with you.
Perfect, perfect. Well, how long you gonna be there? And I have this is one question. The second question is for you personally, and maybe for you as a family. Every time you go there, how
Mhm.
that influence your life in the Western world, or your perception of everything?
Ah, Oh yeah, many times different in the ways I want to move here.
Okay.
That's the thing. Yeah, yeah, I found another home in South America. Basically, in Brazil, we went. Now I'm fourth time here, but I'm not in the same region. Here
Okay.
is like deep jungle, where it's like super hot and super a lot of humidity and a lot of insects and stuff. Where we were staying before with my whole family, we went to Alto Paraíso de Goiás, that is more central part of Brazil, where is not so much so powerful weather to say. Here is much more powerful. And yeah, first time when I stepped to this nature, I basically fell in love into the nature, the trees, the animals, the water, the air, everything here together is like, for me, like coming home.
Oh, for sure
And
was your home in one of your previous lives or many previous lives.
how it's affecting me is like, yeah, we are bringing more and more of these ancestral ways back to Slovenia, basically. How we started to build also in Slovenia like 10 years ago. And what the inspiration from the journeys we basically put into the center, how we build, what kind of activities we have there, and everything together.
Nice.
Yeah. But like is for Western peoples, and to live in this way for us is like super challenging to say, especially when you get kids. And especially when you decide to do it a little bit different way than your parents did it, especially when it comes to schooling, and when you decide to school it in a different way than society wants you to do it, then you come to a realization that we literally, we as humans, our country system is acting towards us like we were slaves, literally.
Yep. Yep.
We don't have freedom of choosing. If we want to choose a different way of schooling, we don't have this freedom, at least not in Slovenia.
I think it's
So now in
everywhere the same.
Slovenia, yeah, I mean, in United States, as I was talking with some friends, they have a lot of freedom with schooling their kids.
Wow. Okay.
So it's United States is one of the most liberal states towards schooling. Other
Interesting.
countries are like the old system. It's like very old system. Way of schooling is rigid.
Mhm.
Even the studies recently that were made on children showed up that almost 95% of the children are like genius, have capacity of a genius. And after 2 years of normal schooling, this drops to 30 to 40%.
Yeah, and 12 years is to be
And
completely.
12 years is like 1% maybe.
Yep. No, basically
And
they
that's
need
the
12
thing.
years to be completely how do you say
Indoctrinated.
yes. So
Exactly.
that's why it's 12. That's why lately it's I just had this conversation actually with my very close friend. Um because he has two kids and he has the same problems regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
So he been through because we talked about this before we were recording this. You and me we talked a couple of weeks ago about that, and he's been going through the same issues
Mm-hmm.
as you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
And more in Slovenia, we are maybe like 100 families that have the same issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see what the government and what they will decide to do with this group of people. That's the thing, because for example, in Spain they had the same issue. In Portugal, they have the same issue, but things needed to happen on a social level. So in Spain, what happened was that one mother was arrested because of this. They put her into jail, and people found out that they are locking mothers with kids because they decided to school them in a different way to jails. People
Mhm.
went crazy
Mhm.
and they made protests, and it produced I don't know the English word, maybe in Slovenian, javni nered so povzročil.
Uh, it's yeah, a good
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah.
It's I think it's called public disorder. Like
Exactly. And when this
yeah,
happens, governments start to change
yeah,
things. But before this doesn't happen, they will do as they will like.
yeah.
But when the public disorders happens, they start to reconsider things. So it's like we have a certain kind of protocols in this system.
Mm-hmm.
And these protocols are years and years and years. They are very long protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically, as a family, that decided to unschool our children, to not put them into public school, but private university, West River Academy, that is situated in California. We are basically like they make pressure onto us because we decided to do it in an other way, and that's the main thing that we as humanity we would start to understand, like maybe one generation, two generations, that to be civilized, to say civilized, to be a human being, we don't need schools, as we didn't need schools to learn walking. We don't need to learn walking in schools, as we don't need to learn in schools how to properly behave. They put schools because they wanted to have like civilized people who have manners, who know how to act in the society a certain way. That's why schools are here, if we are honest,
Mm-hmm.
just from the beginning. And we as humans, we see that we socialize through our relationships, through our relations. And it is interesting to see like unschooled children and then schooled children, where you see that unschooled children are much more sociable than schooled children. Unschooled children are like children that run around and play, where schooled children nowadays, they are just standing beside the parents and they are scared to be even alive. And that's all from the programming that we do.
Yeah,
And
sure.
because our society is teaching us that we need to be responsible parents, we need to be um, like how do you say, you
Let me
need
give
to
help you
teach
with
your
example. Like they have in our society is teaching how to be healthy, the fattest and unhealthiest person,
yeah, 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 yeah,
telling
yeah.
us about health and what we should
Mm-hmm,
eat and what we should not eat and how we what we should drink and so on. But when
mm-hmm,
they you look at them and like, yeah, I'm not taking any health
mm-hmm,
advice from you, right? So,
mm-hmm,
or in finance, people that don't have finance education, but they are there because of good connections, or and so on, right? The way I
Exactly.
see, for me, is because I'm not parent yet, so I this is definitely an issue that will come at some point, or challenge that I will have to address.
Hmm.
So I will remember now for later. But the way I see all this system, right? Before I wanted to change, now it's just like it's exactly the way it needs to there because you can't change it. It's just too, and I'm not in a negative way. I'm not saying it's just the way it is. It's built
Hmm.
this way. So that's the world that is. So we are controlled. So more and more we control through money, through system, through health, through schooling, through everything, to social media, through everything is built like that. So
Thi- This is
for
the
me,
only
the
way we
only
can
way
grow.
is to build, you know, uh, how do you say, parallel system.
Hmm.
However, you can't just most
Uh-huh.
99.9% of people can't just cut it from that system. You can't. It's impossible. It just doesn't work like that. So we need to first create parallel systems because the
Hmm.
system in Slovenia is a parallel system in Slovenia. It doesn't work in Brazil or it doesn't work in India. So each country will have to their own. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I think when we build these parallel worlds, then the other society, I mean, people on this side will see, okay, we can see this is how it works because like I said before, we can't go all to the extreme and live in a forest, right? It doesn't work for
Hmm.
me. I'm not that kind of person. I need some sort of like comfort.
Hmm.
Let's call it like that, right? And on the
Hmm.
side, not all people we can go to that extreme of just being like, I mean, there are people that putting chips in their hands,
Hmm.
they want to control everything with the chips. And I'm like, go for it. But if that's your journey on this world right now, definitely
Exactly.
go for it. And I'm not saying you are wrong because you are not, because that's his reality, that's his experience. But
Hmm.
at the same time, please don't tell me that this should be my reality and this is how I
Hmm.
should live. You live your life.
Exactly.
You live your
Yeah,
life you
yeah, yeah,
want
yeah.
it. Put 100 chips in your head if you feel like it. Connect to the
Hmm.
all the AI you want. Because I love AI.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I love the AI too.
Hmm.
Because everything is just a tool. It just
Exactly.
depends who is working with that tool.
We did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You understand?
True,
A
true, true.
knife is just a knife for cutting a bread and stuff.
Hmm.
But in the wrong
Hmm.
hands, it's a murder weapon.
Exactly.
So, it's everything is like that. So this
Hmm.
is just that I have issue with, and I'm guilty too because I put my beliefs in the other people. Oh, this is the way it is in the past, right? So, but please just don't tell me how I should live my life. That your way is the only way, right? So we need to be patient with each other. We need to be more compassionate, uh, you
Hmm.
know. And what you said before is like sharing your stories and emotions and failures and pains and
Hmm.
traumas. And because if just one person from this video today will resonate and will help him somehow, we did it. Like, this is our job is done today. Just one,
Exactly. One,
it's
one by one.
one by one, and
Exactly. We
uh,
cannot push it more.
no, and people that resonate with your story about the schooling and all of that, hopefully will see that and they will like, yeah, you know, because
Hmm.
I mean, when I have kids, I was already because I talked to my friend about this issue and all of that. I was already, and I know some other people that in Slovenia that, they took them out for 2 years and they told me how many problems they had and how many pressures. They changed the system from okay, schooling at home. You have to do one test or two tests. Now it's like 5 or 10 of them. You have to pass everything. So basically, it's the same,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and yeah. So I was already looking just like. schools, like, and through you sharing your story, I'll just learn another option for my kids because they will not go in that system. And like, yeah, so they're not going there. That's, you know,
Exactly.
future mama, whoever you are, like watching that, yeah, don't come to me if you're not taking that as a part of me. So, yeah, so and simple as that. And but it's just in the end of the day, we're gonna do step by step, right?
True. True.
And I'm like, yeah, and this is I'm so happy we have this talk because we can connect so many different aspects of the world we are living through our own experience. And yeah, and I love, you know what I love? I love where you when you're walking and we can see all of what you're sharing with us, the way people living. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just amazing experience. And this is one continent I have not been beside North America also, but um, I know it's coming
It's worth
soon.
it.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
One of my I'm connected, let's call it spiritual world, or just for sake of conversation, I don't want to go completely into that right now. It's Peru. I'm connected on that level, energy level to Peru. I figure out last 6 months why and how, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so definitely I'm soon there. When it's meant to be, I'll be there, but I hopefully it's gonna be soon. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel me personally very connected to the places is in South America. It's been all my life. I just decided to look like I needed experience somewhere else, but yeah.
The
Uh,
pet.
the path, yeah.
Yeah, the pet of our life.
Yeah. In Serbia, they say while you're making plans, the god is laughing at you.
Exactly. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep,
You
yep,
know.
yep, yep.
Uh,
True,
Sapuro,
true.
do you want to give any special message for today?
Yeah, I would like to thank my family that supported me through my life, and to my wife, Tina, to my kids, and to the world itself, because the world itself is like a reflection of ourselves. Is many times we think that we are separate from the world, but we are just part of it. And like very interesting perception from tribal people is like exist because you exist. I would not exist if you would not exist. We exist because each other. You know, we go many times to post office or to shop, and there are random people, just random people who you saw in for first time in your life, and they are working there for you. You know, that you are able to send the post, that you are able to buy the bread, and we have it for like something normal, something like it's nothing, it's there, but it's like super special that we have all the people that are ready to support and to work for each other, to say. And that's about the perception of our reality, that we can transform how we see our reality. It's just like cleansing the perception of what we see, and it's inside of different kind of energetical and theogenic practices of like shamanic practices, meditation, any kind of techniques can bring us to take step towards ourselves, to say. and can be inward journey into yourself and can be also outward journey to the world, to, with other people. So any way we do it is good, just that we do it. And it doesn't matter if we drink ayahuasca or if we do bufo or anything. We just need to connect with ourselves and with nature and with loved ones, with our families. And many times just being who we are.
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. It was nice talking with you.
You too.
And hopefully we do it again
We will do.
in
Anytime you want.
environment
Anytime
that,
you want.
that
May
will be a little bit more easy
Yeah, well, you know
right
what?
now.
Yeah, you know what? I I learned one thing, man, on this podcast. Um, if it's meant to happen, it happens. I had a
Exactly.
I had full on 2 hour podcast with one guy also from Slovenia. And after the recording didn't want to transfer to the file, right? So did.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen. And I'm like, and I text him
Mhm.
next day and I'm like, listen, this looks like this was not meant to be because the
Mhm.
file didn't, I couldn't get file out of the recordings. He's like, give me 15 minutes, let me do the meditation. It comes back 15 minutes later and it's like, yeah, I got like that. This was for us personal. It was not meant to the public to see it.
Mhm.
And it was for you and me to learn about because we really shared. And looking back, I felt like through the recording that this was really personal, right?
Mhm.
And it was not time to share those kind of moments with the public. So
Mhm.
today, yes, it was challenging, especially for you. And being, all of this humidity, it's super hot, all the flies and everything. Look, but we got it through. Let's hope the file works, but
Exactly.
but we'll see it. But otherwise, everything happens when it needs to happen. So it's simple as that.
True.
For
True.
me personally, one of very big realizations I had to come to was not to push in the world, like not to push things and just kind of when it happens, it happens. You do your
Mhm.
best and then
Mhm.
like just let it go. And if it's meant to be, it's gonna meant to be. And I had a couple hardcore lessons I had to get it to realize that. So, you know,
True.
look,
True. True.
thank you again. Thank you again. And we'll do it again for sure. And I hope to see you soon, when it's meant to be in Slovenia, and I'll do the ayahuasca and definitely bufo, and we'll go from there.
True. We can make a live podcast in person.
That would be awesome. That would be
True.
awesome.
True.
Let, let,
True.
let's do that. And it will happen when it's time for that.
True. True. Till then, have a nice time.
You too.
And it was
Good,
nice talking with you.
you too. And say hello to your family and everybody there and successful building. And
Thank
talk
you
to you
very
soon.
much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.